The locusts that we have been experiencing in the Karoo area, I mean, Northern Cape, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, we normally experience them during the time when we've got good rains and in the area where there are high temperatures. They normally lay eggs in the Karoo, the desert area, but once they've got heavy rains, these eggs they can hatch, and when their hatching becomes a circle, they'll get out as hoppers, and then after some weeks, then they'll be flying. And if they fly, then they mate, and then they can keep on multiplying like that. And this is where they come from. They are more from Namibia, Botswana, and in South Africa, more in the desert area.
All right. And what is the impact on the gardens, maybe?
The impact, because they really depend on the grazing. They can graze the field, they can graze the maize and some crops. So they really depend on the green, anything that is green. Lucerne, they can really consume it quick. When they are really a big swarm, they can take a few minutes to clean your farm if they are not really controlled on time.
Right. And are there any diseases that humans can contract from these locusts?
No, there are no diseases that normally comes with this
Even
animals.
for
The only
animals?
challenge, yeah, there are no diseases, because there are some animals that they can even consume. Even people in some areas, this locusts, they've got high proteins. They can still be consumed by humans, so there is no problem in that.
All right. And quickly, Doc, is there any preventative measures that farmers can take in terms of preventing these locusts from eating their crops?
There is a program from the department, because what we have, the program is where we're working with organized agriculture. Each farmer or community need to, if they observe this, they need to communicate to the department. We've got chemicals, we've got equipment that they can be used to control this locust. We've got the colleagues on the ground that they can control it, and in areas where mountainous areas or bushy areas, then we've got helicopters that they are used as well to control it. So those are the means that you are using to control this locust. So the farmers, some might be able to buy their own equipment and control it, but the government have that program to make sure that they assist in controlling this locust.
Right. So you mentioned that these locusts usually are around when there's been heavy rains. What exactly are these locusts after? Are they just traveling through, or are they staying? How long do we have with them?
The locust, I can just say, is like any creature. When we have good rains, even livestock, even the farmers, when we are having good rains, they are happy that they will harvest a lot. So it's like them as well. They have been sent by nature to say this is the good year for you to go and harvest. It's something like that. They need to be experienced during this time to be flying around. They're not really here alone, even in East Africa, where there's a desert. They are experiencing this when they're having good rain. So it's something that is normally being experienced in high temperatures areas, as well as heavy falls being experienced. Like the current one, the last one we experienced was in 2010, 2011, and it's almost 10 years. And these eggs, they've been lying dormant there, waiting for the good rains to be experienced, and then they come out. They
All
hatch.
right, Doc. Just a note to our viewers: we are experiencing quality or a picture problems or issues technically with the doctor, so you might not be able to see him, but his picture is visible on the live that you are watching currently. And Doc, just on a lighter note, when we humans, we like making our own assumptions. And we've got people saying, judgment is very close. And is this judgment, or if there's anything like judgment anyway, beyond your explanation that you have given us on this locust, is there anything um, maybe spiritual about these things?
It's really a rare situation at the moment. That there even the system. There's a system that is stationary in Northern Cape, Western Cape, and Eastern Cape. They are sort of now driving all these the flyers in Eastern Cape.
Mm.
They are stationed there when you don't know why is it happening, and that's rare.
Yeah.
We haven't experiencing the flyers in some areas in Eastern Cape. It's for the first time that the locusts are now driven there. The system is not moving out since we having good that those heavy rains. And if you can go to the Karoo, some are saying they last received this rains more than years ago. It's for the first time to see such the growth. So it's really rare. We are also asking ourselves. Uh, Somebody might talk about climate change, but if you're having a good rains, that means uh, this might not be climate change or whatever. But there's no myth that there is the end of whatever. It's just these creatures are here and dependent on the weather and climatic conditions, as well as the farmers. They also like happy when they see the rains, and the creatures are there. I always say they are also be sent to say this is the year of good productions. Go and enjoy yourself. It's something like that. They are also being sent. There's a plenty now. Go and enjoy yourself. That's why they are here.
Right. Okay, Doc, I hear that you mentioned climate change. Is there any possibility that we might be getting more rain than usual in the Eastern Cape, and that could be the reason why we have locusts right now, which we have never had before?
It's difficult to link this to climate change because we need to research that one. But this one I'm just saying it's for the first time for us to be observing this a lot of rain in the Karoo. You know, there's been years to be having this. This one I say there is a stationary system that's sitting there making a lot of rain in those areas. And now because this is a cycle, they'll lay eggs, they'll mate, and then they'll come out, and if they are not noticed, not controlled, there are areas that we can't control them, and they'll go out, and then they'll fly, and then they'll go to areas where they can lay eggs, and it becomes a cycle. And we'll only maybe start having them being reduced as the winters approach because they're not really surviving on the winters. They
Okay.
only like high temperatures and good moisture. So when the winter comes, then they'll then disappear. And then in September, if we received again good rains, they'll reappear again.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much for that. We're just going to go for a quick ad break. To the viewers, please stay tuned on hearing more about the locusts we've been seeing in our areas. We are going for an ad break. Stay tuned.
Yeah guys, yeah siphila ke kulo maxesha nzima, yeah amaxesha e-COVID. And umongameli usanokubhengeza ukuba siku-level 1 and ukufika kwethu ku-level 1 akuthethi ukuba i-COVID-19 okanye icorona iphelile, isaphakathi kwethu, sisaphila nayo. Ithi loo nto leyo it's not business as usual nangoku. Kusafuneka silandele imiqathango. Kule mihla ke siphila kuyo i-live streaming yemingcwabo ndiyacinga nam uba yenye yezinto ekumeleyo ukuba wonke umntu okanye wonke ubani abuya yenza. Iyanceda ke kwelinye icala ukuba ufuna ukuthoba iindleko zomngcwabo. Ukunwenwa kwe-COVID ke ukubalula nje izinto ezimbalwa ke phakathi kwezinye. Kodwa ke don't despair, ungawari, because ke abakwa OurNews online bayaqinisekisa ukuba baniphathela ke le nkonzo, and ke eyona nto baqinisekisa ngayo ukuba yinkonzo le efikelelekayo, kodwa iyafikeleleka. Yes, ungayibona wena ufikeleleka ucinga baza kunika nje baza kugqwagqwa. Iyafikeleleka kodwa ke ikwinqanaba eliphezulu kakhulu. Amaxabiso abo aqala kancinci from 2,450 qha. 2,450 qha. Kufikelela kulula guys.
Welcome back to the chat of Our News Online. I'm still your host, Cwayita. Zweni. Today we are speaking about the brown locusts that we have been seeing around our areas. And we are talking to a representative who is Dr. Ikalafeng kgakatsi from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform, and Rural Development. We are heading to our last questions, Doc. Just for clarity, we have farmers who have been affected by the locust. I mean, we have people who have had their gardens or crops eaten by these locusts. Is there any form of an intervention for those farmers from the government? I know the government didn't bring the locusts, but yeah, you know, we always have to ask these questions. And what other interventions does the government have in order for the people to, or what can people benefit from the government in terms of trying to live with this thing? Because as much as we've had heavy rains or quite nice rains, we have also been the farmers have also been affected in terms of these locusts eating their crops. So what is the government doing, if there's anything?
You know that what the government is doing is to try to control, to make sure they control this locusts, that they don't have a negative impact on the grazing. We haven't really come up to say there are areas that are really affected, to see what to what extent that needs to be done. And because it's not a disastrous to that extent that we just clean all the security, you can still see there in areas where the production is still high, but there and then the farmers might be affected a lot of this. But if you have to look at those who are really affected, our drought related disaster is the next crop if these guys were affected, then we can really look into those things. But we don't really have a specific program that it will be assisting. It's just to make sure that we really clearly control them to our best and make sure that the farmers communicate to us and let us that these creatures are there and then we can come and control them. The challenge is they cannot be controlled in built up areas in villages because the chemicals we are using are really poisonous. They can affect the community. Even in one livestock area, if you have to control the grazing, you will have to move your livestock away because the chemical is dangerous and it can affect those. So those are some of the things that the community needs to be aware of. That they are not used to these things. They want us to take them away, but it might not be so easy for us to control them on villages. And they have to try to chase them away so that we are in the areas that we can control. The other challenge in this is the chemical is the negative environmental impact, that you cannot use some of these liquids on the environment. Then we got powder that you can use it on irrigation and some environmental area, because the powder chemical doesn't really affect the environment per se. So those are the things that we really try to make sure that as a government to assist. It's a lot of money. It's very, very expensive chemicals we are using to really to control this. So that's what really the government is doing to make sure they assist the community and the farming community at large.
All right, Doc. Just to the viewers, we would like to apologize for our sound. It keeps cutting there. We are rectifying that mistake from our side. It is the signal as well. So, Doc, just for some clarification on my side, the chemical that the government uses for to get these or to control these locusts, is it sprayed on the actual crops that they eat, or is it just sprayed on the environment? Does it have any impact on the actual crops that are planted?
The chemicals are sprayed on, we sprayed on the locust. It just as you know, if you can look at it, just a mist, and then if it can land on the locust, it will then be killing it. But as you are saying, the chemical cannot really be. There are crops that are sensitive, like it's like citrus. You can't spray this thing on citrus because it will have some residue, and
Right.
especially the citrus in Eastern Cape where they are doing export. So there is a buffer area that they are saying in 5 kilometer, we cannot come closer to the citrus because they are having an export. It can affect their crops. So there are areas that we can control and use those areas. But on crops, we normally use the powder, and the powder doesn't have a negative impact on the crop itself. And this is how we differentiate that.
Okay, all right. And where can farmers report if they have locusts near their farms?
The farmers or communities, if they locate this, they will report to their nearest agricultural offices, which is like here in Eastern Cape or in the district, as well as our main offices in Appington and DR. They can communicate and let us know that these locusts are in the vicinity, so that we can immediately come and control them.
All right. And any last words to the community, Doc, as we are closing this topic?
Yeah, this in overseas or in America or whatever, there was the researchers, they were saying this can be a feed to animals. So if you can have a genius person that can come up and find a way of harvesting this and creating it as a feed to livestock, that can be good. But at the moment, it's really nuisance to us. But we will really be saying, when you see this for the first time, just let us know. And if it is in the closest community area, built up areas, we cannot control them because the chemicals are really poisonous and can affect the community. Thank you.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much. And there we have it, Keba Bugele Makaya. That was our show tonight, talking about the locusts that we have been seeing, and so many people have been asking about these locusts. So you have gotten at least a bit of clarity from Dr. Ikalafeng Kgakatsi, who is from the Department of Agriculture, in giving us clarity on these as well as how to prevent them. You have heard that to contact your nearest department and have these controlled in as the government has some preventative or controlled measures that have been put in place. That was the chat of our news tonight. And until next week, have a good night.